record.
All right.
And then we can get started. Woohoo! So Lily and I are very excited to be back. Welcome to the 8th Chakra's Tuesday night call. We do say TNC sometimes, and that's what we mean, the Tuesday night call. My name is Bonnie Sachs. Lily is right there with me. And this is our flagship product. This is the thing that we absolutely love to do. This is what we are here to do, how we connect with all of you. We absolutely love that you all show up with us on a Tuesday night. This call has been so amazing. Every series we do just keeps amping up with the frequency, with the healing, with the information that comes through. And this is absolutely no different. And we gift it to everyone because we just think it is so amazing. So Lily and I co-founded the 8th Chakra Company. It's been, I think it's actually coming up on 3 years now.
Oh,
and
crazy.
Yeah, it's all about us helping all of us master what it is to be human. Lily and I are both very clear that we already know how to be spiritual. We spend most of our time doing that, but then we get into a body in this incarnation and we're like, what the heck is going on? So we like to have these everyday conversations about things that are happening in our lives and bring it to a whole new level of awareness. This series that we're doing now is bringing more awareness to our bodies and our channels, our fields. We're going to be talking about a lot of really cool things. This is kind of the spiritual side that we don't remember. And it is going to be a powerful series. Just put Tuesday nights on your calendar. Don't miss a one. If you miss one, make sure you go and find us on YouTube and you catch it all over again. So Lily and I are both expert Akashic Records readers. We've taught thousands of people to read the Akashic Records. We're also master level alchemists, and sometimes you will see us waving our hands around and we're busy clearing energy and helping you all get more access to your own information. It's one of the things we absolutely love. And Lily's going to tell you how we are different from everybody else out there.
Yeah, and for those of you that have joined us, you're probably sick of hearing this, but we do have new people on board. So we want to tell you how we're different because there's a whole lot of other phone calls going on in the ether spaces and through the internet. So one of the things that does make us very different is that Bonnie and I are both intimately connected with the angelic realm, and the masters and teachers in the Akashic realm are just, they are beings that are part of our daily life. And so we bring their wisdom, we bring their healing. We are guided by the angelic realm and we are guided by these masters. And so we're not doing this call alone. I was joking before, when Bonnie went to get her water, I was joking about how we hardly ever know about the topics that we're doing, but the one tonight we really don't know much about. And it's really fun because we're students just like you. Mm-hmm. We just happen to be a little bit more in the space of bringing in this information, and we love doing that for you. We do open the Akashic Records, and for those of you who have done our classes, you know that it's both really easy and at the same time can seem daunting to open the records. We do open the records for the entire 8th Chakra community, which is you on this call, whether you're listening to the call live or you're going to catch us on YouTube recording later on. Or through SoundCloud, the audios. And so we do open the Akashic Records. So the messages that we receive and the healing that we receive is customized for you. There is no coincidence that you are on this call with us to receive this information. Your soul has guided you to be here, and we're just the vehicles to which to bring this information through, and it's very exciting. The other thing is that we do set a very powerful intention, and we have worked with intention for a very long time and know how powerful it is. And we do invite all of you to have your own intention for this evening. Our intention tonight is to help us step into the remembrance of who we are. We are all souls in a body. And you know, there's a tricky thing about being in a body is that once we're born, we forget pretty much everything that we came here with. So that's where the Akashic Records really comes in handy, because it helps us to understand where we've come from and where we're going and why we're here. And so as we're doing that, we are setting the intention to remember who we are, help us all remember who we are, and helping us to also access our own information. And that's Bonnie and I's mantra. We want you to access your own information. And that's what this call is about. We raise the frequency as a community. We are raising the frequency with the assistance of the angelic realm and all the masters that are here with us. And once our frequency goes up, it just keeps going up. It's a permanent state of raising our frequency, and we keep alchemizing those lower frequencies. And so we've had calls that have where we've worked on the chakra system, we've worked on healing humanity, we've worked on raising the frequency of a lot of the different aspects in our life. And this particular series that we're moving into, the sole intention of it is for us to understand what are the bodies and the channels that are associated with our life aspect as a being, as a light being in a body. And tonight's call is an exploration into the 4 main light bodies, or etheric bodies, as some schools of thought are call them. So we're going to be talking about the light bodies and what are those. And that is our intention, for us to remember what they are, to connect with those frequencies, and most important, to know how to utilize the power that lies in the information within each of these bodies. Each of these bodies holds different kinds of information, and we're going to be able to access all of that today with the healings and the activations that we're going to get. So woohoo, we're ready. Bonnie, go ahead and let's just
woohoo
do here.
Woohoo. So here's how this all works. Is the first half of the call, we are going to be having a conversation, kind of leading the discussion. If you have any questions about something we mentioned, feel free to raise your hand. And the way you do that is go over to the chat. If you have the participant list running, you can actually click on the button to raise your hand. You can also go down at the bottom and raise your hand to chat, and you can actually talk to us if you'd like to do that, or you can put a message in the chat. We're constantly reading those as well. So if you're somebody who's like, I don't really want to talk out loud, that's okay. You can put the information down in the chat, and we're happy to work with you from there. We want you all to participate. Lily and I just got together earlier today. We have these conversations on a regular basis. So this is really for you. This half an hour is for you all to ask questions, to participate, get answers, get assistance, whatever you need. In the second half of the call, what we then do is bring in specific information and specific healing from the Akashic realm, from the angelic realm, from the information that we gather. And that is a time when I'll speak first, and then Lily will speak, and it is amazing healing. At the end, we give you some more information that you might want to know, but you want to stay definitely until the very end. And just a quick note is that in the chat, there is already the link for the call. If you need to send it to somebody, feel free to copy that and send it to everybody you know. That will be the link for the entire 7 weeks. So I wanted to give you that information as well. So ready for some light body conversation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just a little intersection too. We have had some problems with our website. Bonnie has been diligently working on getting us back and running, but we had some problems with the link. So if you have gotten onto this call without actually registering to get your own Zoom link, then make sure that you do that for the future episodes that we'll do in this series, which is going to be 7 calls. Yay. All right. So Bonnie, why is it important for us to know anything about the light bodies, and what the heck are light bodies anyway? And why do we need to know about them?
That's a great question, Lily. I love the way you toss it to me. All right, I'll do the softball. So, Lily and I were actually having this conversation. Like, I have gone 50 years where I didn't know what any of these things were. Why is it suddenly important for me to know them? And one of the reasons I think it's really important for us to understand these is to have some awareness about what is going on in our bodies. And this is kind of like if we had grown up in a school that taught us energy, healing, that acknowledged the different parts of our energetic bodies, we would have already known that we have light bodies. And there's different aspects of them that come up when you're doing healings. And it's always great to know what you have. It's like, okay, I know I have 2 eyes, I have 2 ears, they're all working. I know I have four light bodies, and we're going to talk about each one of them. We're going to kind of pull them apart and give some information about them. so that we have some clarity, some awareness, some languaging in all this stuff. And every time we talk about this stuff, there are always healings that come with it and more information. So that's a good thing. I'm always up for healing whenever a healing comes in. So
Yeah.
did you have something else?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of violet flame coming through for everyone, and it's happening in our dream space, which is right above the crown. This is really going to be beneficial for everyone, because one of the things that Bonnie and I are always looking at is that we come with preconceived ideas. Every single call, every single topic that we've ever brought to this call, we all have preconceived ideas. Bonnie and I, first and foremost, she and I have our own preconceived ideas, and we have the concepts and the ideas. And, you know, if we were Harry Potter, or if we had been raised like Harry Potter in a school where they teach you how to work with energy and how to utilize all the magic that we are capable of having as a light being, that would be a whole different story. But we don't have that yet in this world, not in the way that Harry Potter does. So we have to then access information from our past lives to bring that. And one of the things Bonnie said, she spent 50 years not knowing about any of this stuff, but it really is her personality spent 50 years not knowing anything about this. Because let me tell you, Bonnie's soul knows it all, just like all of your souls know everything that's supposed to be known for you to bring you to that next level of awareness that you came here to understand. So the light bodies is just another one of those concepts that, by understanding more and being in awareness of what light bodies are, we then can access the information that's in those light bodies. Those of you that joined us for the chakra series, you know that every chakra, which is part of a system, and it is an energetic system within our energetic field, each chakra contains a library of information. In the same way, our light bodies contain libraries of information and points of information that, as we learn and we access that information, we can then begin to remember even more and more of what we came here to step into in our own truth. And that's why it's so important, because we all want to be more aware. We all want to raise our frequency and be more aware. And why do we want to be more aware? Because when we're in the dark, when we're not aware and we're unconscious, then our lives are not as plentiful, are not as joyful, are not as playful as when we are awake and alive. And that's what this is all about. So the light bodies.
And I do want, before we do this, I see Jill. Jill, you have a phenomenal question there. As we go up in frequency, will there ever be a time where we go down in frequency and then we have to bring ourselves up? I love that question, because I used to think that I would go this up and down, up and down, up and down all of the time. And what goes up and down for me, how I see it actually ties right into these light bodies, is kind of my emotions, right? Go up and down, up and down. I'm high, I'm having fun, I'm really joyful. Oh my gosh, life is awful, and I'm down here swimming in the muck and I don't know what's going on. But when we're talking about frequency, we actually don't drop down in our frequency. Our frequency stays at the level that it stays up, and it does keep going up. But in talking about the emotional body, that's one of the bodies we are talking about tonight. So the 4 light bodies, just to let you all know, the first one is the physical body. The second one is the mental body. We have the emotional body, and we have the astral body. And sometimes people call it the etheric body. But those, how we're referring to them, is the physical, mental, emotional, and astral bodies. So why don't we talk about the physical, because that one's the easy one.
Yes, okay, perfect. So I like to think of the bodies as vehicles. Vehicles that our soul travels in. So the first one, that is the obvious one, because it's the one that we see with our physical eyes, and we've been trained to believe that if we can see it with our eyes, it must be true. And we're trained that if we can't see it with our eyes, it must not really exist. And that's why there's people that don't believe in energy, because you can't see energy. So the physical body is the one that is what I would call the most dense. What really distinguishes these bodies is the level of density, because everything is energy and everything is matter, because matter is energy and energy is matter. So the physical body has a denser quality in the matter of it. The molecules are closer together in the physical body than in the other bodies. In the other bodies, the molecules are more spread. It's kind of like if you could look at ice. Ice has molecules very, very compacted, and that's why you can put an ice cube in your hand and shake it around, and you can throw it on the floor and you can hear it clinking. The molecules are very condensed, but as you apply heat to that ice, it starts to melt and it becomes water. With water, the molecules separate a little bit. I like to think of the emotional body as kind of like a viscous water. It's like it's a less dense aspect of the physical. So did the ice really change its molecular structure? Yes and no, because the molecules remain the molecules, but they just separate so that now it becomes liquid. And then if you apply more heat to it, that becomes gas, which the molecules then spread out even more. And that's about as scientific as I'm going to get on this call. So the physical body is this vehicle, this physical vehicle that we function in this material world, because we live in a physical world. But just like there's this physical world that we called Earth, there's also an emotional world, and there's also a mental world that is kind of like a mirror of the physical world, but it's less dense in material, just like ice is more dense than water, is more dense than gas. So that's just kind of like the little bit of an explanation that I can give about that.
Well, there you go. And so the physical body, and listen, if you were like, huh? It's okay, because I was like, all right, Lily, let's go over these again. Let's go over these again today, because the physical body is our actual body. It is the heart and the liver and the lungs and all of the systems and organs, everything that is in our body. That is our physical body. So we can just check that one off. We understand more about our physical body than we do any of the other ones. The emotional body is the body where we house all of our emotions. So those things that you are feeling, the fear, the anger, the joy, the bliss, whatever it is, they are actually in your body. And one of the coolest things for me today was that Lily was talking about how she sees each one in a little box. And as she was talking, I could see the boxes appear. And they're just, for me, they were just like little tiny boxes. And there was a whole bunch of them that were labeled fear, 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 fear. And they were all kind of clustered together. And I could see them, the fear that is in my sixth chakra, the fear that exists. Not that I am a fearful person, but I have picked up a lot of fear being here on the planet. And so it has to exist somewhere. From an energy standpoint, it exists in my emotional body, and it exists in the emotional body that looks almost identical to my physical body, because it has a sixth chakra as well, and it's there. So any kind of emotion that you have, you will find in your emotional body. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me.
Cool. So that's the emotional body.
So you're bringing a really good point, which is that the emotional body and the mental body is like a mirror image of the physical body, except the material of it is less dense. So when we talk about the third chakra, for example, there's not a third chakra that's physical in the physical body, but there is glands associated with the sixth chakra. Okay, the pituitary, the pineal glands are associated with the third chakra. Those are physical, but their emotional component or their mental component have a similar structure within that body. And like I said, I like calling it a vehicle, and I call it a vehicle because it's the way we get around. The soul has to get around in the planet somehow. And so we use the physical body to get around on this planet. It's the same way with the emotional world and with the mental world and the astral world. Our soul needs a body, so to speak, to get around in the emotional world, the mental world, and the astral world. And so the astral world, for example, lies just beyond this physical dimension, and we have an astral body in which our soul gets around in the astral plane. But it's not the same thing. Our astral body and our soul is not the same thing. Our soul utilizes these bodies in these vehicles to get around in those worlds. For what purpose? To gain experience. We are extensions of source, gaining experience in these different dimensions that are aspects of the universe, or the multiverse, as we like to say sometimes. And the multiverse has a lot of different worlds and a lot of different dimensions, and how we get around in those dimensions is through vehicles. So, all right, let's open it up for questions, because I don't know.
You're doing a great job.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, and Lily, you know, she has so much information on this stuff, and she just is like, oh my gosh, I can't get this. Yeah, please, if you'd like to raise your hand, you can, we can actually open your mic and you can ask a question, or you can feel free to put it in the chat just like Jill did. Let's talk about the mental body. I thought it was really interesting. I think you had a great description of the mental body. And for me, it was easiest to understand when we were talking about it in terms of how our souls actually have a say in what our body looks like in each incarnation. And the example you and I were talking about was if I was coming in to be an athlete, that I would need a certain kind of physical body, mental body, emotional body, in order to have my, wow, I can't believe I'm going to say, have my best life here on the planet. So can you do give the examples of those bodies in terms of like being an athlete, or whichever comes up for you?
Sure. And again, you know, we have these vehicles, these bodies, so that our soul can have experiences. This is why we are extensions of Source. Source has experience through us in bodies. That's how I see it, right? So if the experience that our soul is deciding to have in a particular lifetime is one of an athlete, and it's just a great example, then we are going to have a say-so when we get together with our Council of Souls and we're making decisions about relationships and agreements and who are we going to cast in our life to help us with the teachings that we want to gain in this lifetime. We cover it all, including the formation and the creation of a physical body. If we are going to gain experience as an athlete, we certainly don't want to have a body that is weak, that is a body that is not muscular, a body that doesn't have the capacity to be muscular and to have the stamina and the physique of an athlete. It's the same thing with a mental body for an athlete. An athlete has to have a mental body that is very strong. That mental body has to be constructed and created with thoughts or mental constructs, let's say, that are very powerful, that are geared towards competition, that are geared towards strength and power. Same thing with emotion. You know, there's a saying, this isn't for the faint of heart. You know, that's kind of like, if you came here to have an experience as a leader, you're not going to pick an emotional body that has you cry all the time, right? So you're going to pick an emotional body, or you're going to help have a say-so in the creating of an emotional body that is stable and concrete and more grounded, because then that is going to allow you to have the experience of a leader versus an emotional body that would be more like someone that is here to learn, let's say, how to be someone that allows themselves to be in situations where they have to then surrender. You know, surrendering is not something leaders do, you know, but surrendering is an experience that as a soul, we all want to have at some point or another. And our souls choose experiences of all natures. In other words, we've all had a body that was in a wheelchair. We've all had a body that was muscular and athletic. We've all had a body that was, you know, you could say just normal, average, run-of-the-mill body that is an average physique. So in this way, we've all had strong emotional bodies and we've all had strong mental bodies. And depending on the strength and the power and the aspect of those bodies, we then can step into the experience that we're going to have. Are we going to be in politics? Are we going to be a doctor? Are we going to be a teacher? Are we going to be a carpenter? Depending on what we choose as the life path, then we have to create the bodies that support that life path. And that's what's so beautiful about all of this knowledge, is that we begin to understand why we have an emotional body that looks this way or a physical body that looks that way. We start to connect with what is our purpose and what have we come here to experience for ourselves in our life path in this particular incarnation. And we all choose a variety of it from one incarnation to another because we want to have all experiences. We don't just want to have one experience. One lifetime, we may want to be a singer. a singer needs a very strong voice box. That's a physical organ. But a singer also has to have a strong mental and a strong emotional body in order to carry out what that is. And there's all kinds of levels of singers. There's singers that only sing at family parties. And then there's singers that are divas, or singers that go on to produce, you know, amazing records that create Grammys and all of that. So there's a lot of different variety in the experiences that we choose to have. And we need the vehicles in which to accomplish that.
Absolutely. And Jill, all of our bodies actually are usually all with us all the time. They're actually kind of live in our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body. And the really interesting additional piece of information is that we carry those low frequencies in each one of our bodies as well. So as we were talking about the emotional body, you know, there is fear and pain and anger and anguish, and all of those emotions exist in the emotional body as well. I mean, that's kind of how we think, like, oh, I feel it in my heart. That's really in our emotional body. And just to be really clear, the mental body is where our thoughts reside, where all of that thinking comes in. So Lily was talking about that with someone who is an athlete. They are going to have a different kind of mental body. They're going to be thinking about things differently. And if, you know, as she was talking, I was thinking about a golfer or somebody who plays pool, who can do those shots and be able to line the shots up and things like that. All of those kinds of skill sets exist in the mental body. Molly, you're talking about the teacher, Master John Douglas, talks about the casual body.
Causal. It's actually causal.
Yeah, I was going to say I think it's causal body. I haven't heard that reference. Have you, Lily?
I have, yes. And again, there's a lot of different schools of thought. I have heard the causal body being used synonymous with the astral body. But, you know, if you look at different systems of thought, for example, Buddhists have their own interpretation of how they view the bodies. And the same with like the American Indian tradition has different ways of looking at the different worlds too. And so the most important thing is to look into your own soul and find out what is your soul wanting you to know, and how should you interpret it for your own best and highest interest. What do you call this and what do you call that? And really the names can be very confusing because there are different thoughts of different schools of thought that call things differently. So again, the causal body, I have heard it being synonymous with the astral body and also being synonymous with the emotional body. Some schools of thought equate the emotional body with the astral body and even equate it with a dimension called the fourth dimension, as if this third dimension is only separate from the fourth dimension through the distinction astral. But that's not actually true. And so it's really important to ask your own soul. And this whole series is going to be about that. And we're going to be doing some special episodes on how to connect with your soul's information so that you are getting the information that you're supposed to know, and that you receive the knowing, not from calling this that or calling that, but to understand what your experience is and what your soul has designed for you to experience for yourself in this lifetime. And then you'll call it what your soul tells you to call it. And that's the beautiful thing about having your own information, is that you don't have to rely on this teacher or that teacher or that master or that master. You're receiving your own information. And when you receive your own information with clarity and illumination, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's the right information that you need to know.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I'm so excited about that particular aspect of what we're doing, and to constantly remind people that we want you to access your own information. We want to be kind of the nudge for you to start asking and learning about this and getting more information. But, you know, like Lily said in the very beginning, you know, we are learning all of this along with you. We're like this much more ahead because we have to be prepared for everything tonight. But we don't have all the answers. We just keep checking in. What's the next answer? What's the next question? You know, how are we helping everyone next? So we we started talking about the astral body, and I just think the astral body is one of the coolest things because, it is our astral body that is actually connected. We actually have a silver cord that connects us. It's kind of like the belly button, kind of like an umbilical cord that connects us to our astral body when we are out having all sorts of adventures while we are busy sleeping. For all of you who thought you went to sleep and stayed asleep, I've got great news for you. That is not actually what you do. Now, I am the person who does not remember, I should say, who remembers very little of what I do at night. So I figure I am just sleeping, but I hear people talking about me all the time. Lily the other day texted me and she said, "Oh my gosh, I saw you on the Astral last night. You were busy creating a new program." And I'm like, cool, well, at least I know I'm doing something, even if I don't know it for myself. And that is the same thing for all of you, whether you know what you are doing, your dreams, through your dreams or through your experiences, you are absolutely out there swimming with dolphins and checking out cities and landscapes and creating new things and doing all sorts of things while you sleep. So if you wake up in the morning and you're like, "Man, I'm exhausted," you'll know that your astral body was busy all night. Lily, I know you've had a lot of experiences with that.
Well, I do also think the whole topic of the astral body is so fascinating. We actually don't develop, from my experience, we don't develop a strong astral body until we're about 12 or 13 or 14 years old. So for many people, it's hard to have experiences astrally that you can remember as a younger child, because there's other worlds that we're involved with. And there's actually, this whole 4 main bodies and 4 worlds that we're talking about, there's so many more. We could go on for hours and hours talking about the different dimensions and the layers. There's so many layers. And I want to address something that somebody asked about, do our mental, emotional, astral, but are they existing inside our physical body? It's more sort of like our soul utilizes these vehicles. So they're actually separate from each other, but they're not like located in different places. Really, it's only in the physical world where we have the dimension of space and time. So like when you're in the astral world, as many of you have experienced, you'll have a dream and it seems like you were in that dream for 2 minutes, whereas you may have been going through that dream in 2 hours, or the opposite is true. Really, it's only in this physical realm where we experience the dimensions of time and space. In other dimensions or worlds, like the astral world, there is no time and space. So things happen really, really, really fast, or they happen really, really, really slow, or they even intersect with each other. You could be let's say in Paris in one moment in your astral plane, and then just by your invoking a mental construct, you can literally travel in the astral from Paris to New York in a split second. And that's what's possible in the astral world, which makes it so interesting. And we are connected through that silver cord. And I've seen the silver cord, and it's really, really beautiful. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I have seen it, and it's absolutely beautiful. And we actually can reconstruct our astral body, and we can reconstruct our mental body and our emotional body, just like we reconstruct our physical body. I mean, how many of you on this call have reconstructed your physical body? You hear of that all the time, where people, there is cosmetic surgery, which is one way to reconstruct your physical body, but we actually can reconstruct our physical body utilizing mental constructs and emotional construct. We can affect change and cause our physical body to change in structure through utilizing thought and utilizing our strong energetic field. And so we're constantly evolving and constantly shifting these vehicles to support more and more the higher frequencies that we're moving into. So this concept that our frequency doesn't go down is absolutely true. Once you reach a frequency, you don't go back. However, there is different levels of frequency with every state. So for example, you can experience anger at different frequencies. So just because your soul goes up in frequency doesn't mean that you're not going to experience anger again. It just means now you're experiencing anger at a higher frequency, which gets you closer and closer to the love frequency, right? We just begin to experience those lower frequencies at a higher level, which we are then alchemizing them, bringing them closer and closer to those higher states of awareness.
Awesome.
So what was the question that you asked me?
Yeah, I think you did a fabulous job, because it's so interesting. We're actually coming up on moving into the part where we're going to be talking, and I'm like, okay, I was writing some notes just so I could remember them. And then as you were saying that stuff, I'm like, oh, yes, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. I love that my soul has a really has a wonderful sense of humor. I'm really starting to connect with that a whole lot more, because here's the secret. Here is the secret, and this is exactly what I was told. They're going to give us the secret. Get your pen and your paper ready, and get ready to write this down, because it just makes me laugh. There is no secret to any of this. There is no getting it right or doing it in a certain way or having a certain look or understanding all of this information that they are like this. Earlier today, it was like, there is no secret. Please make that really clear. There is no secret. There is no magic. There is no getting this wrong. We cannot possibly screw this up. It's not even a possibility for any of us to mess it up in some way. And so whether you have taken notes or you haven't taken notes, or you understand this, or you're just willing to go, whatever, tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and just go to work and live my life exactly as I have, it does not matter for how you show up in the world, whether you know this information or not. And I also wanted to make it very clear for all of you, because Lily and I have gotten so excited about the light bodies that we didn't actually talk very much about the healing. And I could see that everybody's soul who wanted new light bodies, who wanted a new emotional body, or had holes in their astral body, or whatever the situation was, that has absolutely been done while you have been on this call. Our healing teams, both mine and Lily, have been hard at work making new bodies for you, blowing up the old bodies. There's a lot of stuff that happens to our bodies. If you kind of picture, you go out for a joyride on the astral, and you get bumps and bruises and dents and dings and things like that in your astral body. It is really cool to have it replaced, and then when it gets replaced, you're actually getting an upgrade. You never get the same level that you had. It's always a great thing to replace your astral body, to replace any of your light bodies, because they never just say, okay, we'll just give you the same one. It's always an upgrade, an upgrade, an upgrade. So there's absolutely a lot more energy and excitement and crystals and things like that are going into all your bodies. So I think that is a really cool thing. They're showing me again this picture of my bicycle, and my bicycle actually hangs on the wall in my garage. And I remember Lily and I were actually together one day, and I heard this crash, and I was like, oh, whatever it is, who knows. And so Lily and I went out through the garage to get to her car when she left, and my bike was laying against my fairly brand new car at the time. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? Like, the bike literally jumped off the wall. It wasn't like the hooks that were holding it collapsed. It was literally like the bike jumped off the wall. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And I had all these little dents in my car. And that's annoying, but I'm not one of those people who gets too caught up in that stuff. But I was like, why all the dents? And I understood very shortly that it was a way for my soul to tell me, hey, you need to take a look at your bodies. My astral body had dents, my mental body, my physical body, they all had like little bruises and dents and things to take care of. And so there's this awareness that they want you to have, that there are things that happen in your world, things that happen as you go along your day, that you're like, that is the most bizarre thing. I don't know about you guys, if it's ever happened to you where you go to the grocery store, your car looks nice and great, and when you come out that you realize there's a new ding in the door, maybe you parked a little too close to something, somebody dinged you in some way. That is your sign to know, hey, I need to take care of this. I want to replace something in my body, whether it's in your physical body, because you might notice that there is something that you need there, or whether it's one of your other light bodies. You want to know that there is no coincidence in anything that happens. And I kind of have fun with this now, like I spill something all over the floor and I'm like, all right, where is there something leaking, or where is something spilling out in my body? It's me taking this awareness of energy, taking it up to the next level. Where is it that there is something going on in my body that I can take care of, that I can handle? And for all of you who are now saying to me, but I don't know how to do that. Here's the really cool thing. This is the other piece of information for all of us, is to be reminded that we can always, always ask. That we can always ask for assistance. And all we have to do is say, okay, I know that there must be something wrong with my with one of my bodies, because I have been doing the same thing over and over again. Can I please have help? Can I please have a healing? Can I please get some assistance here? And it's really helpful if we can just remember to stop and ask. If we can say, there must be a reason why these things are happening, and I do not have to suffer. I love that word suffer, right? We all love that one. Because suffering is completely optional. You do not have to suffer. You get an opportunity to ask for help, to ask for a healing, to ask for somebody. And sometimes you might not even know who to ask for, but you can literally say, can I please have some help here? And as we go through this series, there's going to be lots of opportunities for you to ask for help, lots of opportunities for you to ask for more healing, to ask for more information, to ask for more clarity. I love, Lily, that you were talking about clarity, because oh my goodness, we are going to be spreading that one really thick over the next 7 weeks. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Because the more we understand about these divine channels of communication, the more we understand about our bodies as we go through the weeks, the more we can go, oh my gosh, I am really normal. I can actually see energy. I can actually hear energy. I can actually hear my soul speaking to me. And it's really, really important that we know that it is possible for all of us, that we know it is something that is available to every single one of us. And it doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with how you were born, where you were born, what is available to you. It is absolutely available to everyone. And so that's the really super big, they're like, hey, really super big message that they want you all to know, is that this next 7 weeks, well, now it's going to be 6 weeks, right, that we're going to be going through these channels, is to know that it is all available to you, to know that you have everything it takes. All you need to do is show up, ask for healings, ask for healings, ask for healings. So thank you. Lily, you're on.
As I'm listening to you, I'm so connecting with this, listening to the story about the bike and the dents and the liquid falling, and, what is this saying to me? And for those of you that are possibly new to our call, Bonnie and I do open the Akashic Records for you. It's for you as a community, and for us. We are a community. And as we open the records, the information is coming through, because the Akashic realm is huge. It's vast. So in order for us to really hone in on what is that the information that we need to hear today that's going to be relevant for you, we open the records for this community. And what's coming through right now is like this really sweet love. This really sweet love that they want us to know that is available to us as we are in the inquiry, asking, why do I need to know about these bodies, and why is it necessary for me to understand it, and what's my benefit? What's in it for me? what is in it for me? And when we say what's in it for me, there's two aspects that come up. One is what's in it for me as a personality, as this physical body that is functioning as, in my case, Lily Winsap, the co-founder of the 8th Chakra Company with Bonnie, and all the other roles that I take on as a mother, as a friend, as a sister, as a daughter. All of these roles that I take on is part of my personality. So that's one aspect. How does my personality benefit from me knowing about these bodies? And then how does my soul benefit? And that's really the question that they would like to impart for us today. And they're doing that with tremendous amount of love. And as they really want you to experience this love. And so they're asking for us all to connect with our heart right now and to just like really be there with our imagination. And the imagination is part of the mental body. Imagination actually is part of the mental body, but it's also part of the emotional body, because you can have it, you can imagine something and you can feel an emotion. And you can imagine something and you can have a physical reaction. So this tells us that these bodies are all very connected with each other. Now, why do we have these bodies? The reason we have these bodies is because the universe is huge. It's gigantic and it's multi-layered, multi-dimensional. And when we study alchemy, we learn and experience that the universe is made up of tons and tons of formulas and geometrics and things that we don't understand, and from our physical perspective, even if we were physicists, which I don't think anybody on this call is a physicist, but if you could imagine being a physicist, you would begin to realize like what the universe is made up of and what water is made up of and what the physical body is made up of. If you look at all the intricacies of the meridians and the systems and the complexity of how the digestive system works, just to use an example, it's really, really complex with all the chemistry and all the formulas and everything that has to take place in this physical world, in this physical body. But we use these vehicles so that we can experience all that there is to experience in this universe. And it is so vast. Our imaginations cannot even begin to fathom how vast it is. And so we begin really like kindergarten. And this is really where we all are. We are kind of like in a little kindergarten, understanding what 1 + 1 is, and what 2 divided by 1 is, and what 10 times 10 is as we get a little bit older and progress in our education. We're just learning. And as we raise our frequency, we begin to understand it more. So at the level that we are all, those of us that are on this call, those of us that have synchronistically come together for this wisdom and this information and really this remembrance, because we all already know this. We are bringing it to light in this physical world so that our personalities can have some kind of satisfaction, because our personality needs the satisfaction of knowing, well, what am I supposed to do with all this information? And what that is for us in a very simple way is that we begin to understand more of the truth of who we are as sparks of the divine. We begin to understand that when we access the information that lies in each one of these bodies. And we access this information by knowing more about these bodies. And we learn more about these bodies by looking in there, like really looking in there, not with our physical eyes, but with our energetic eyes, with our spirit eyes, with the eyes of our soul. The eyes of our soul allows us to look inside the physical body. So if you connect with your soul in this moment from the place of your heart, you could literally look into your heart, and you could, with the assistance of your mental body and your emotional body, you could actually see what the makeup is of your heart. You could imagine, you almost can see the ventricles, and you almost could see the pumping of the heart and how that blood moves through your body. Now, why is that useful? Because the blood is the life force of the physical body, and when we bring in light and when we bring in love into that vehicle, that blood, let's say, system, We then are sending a high frequency to the organs and glands. And we do that with our imagination. We do that with our mental body. We do that with our emotional body. We do that with our astral body. And we bring in light through intention, through the vision of our soul. And then we nourish the physical body. We nourish the physical body through food that we eat, because we put in high quality food, we put in high quality air, we put in high quality water as much as we possibly can. And we nourish our bodies in that way. We can stop aging and we can stop dis-ease through taking actions that are healthy from a physical standpoint. But our mental body and our emotional bodies help us to bring in light and nourishment into our physical body from a completely different aspect. And why is that? Because everything is energy and it's all connected. So as we use our mental body to nourish our mental body with thoughts that are high frequency thoughts. In other words, when we have a thought, is it a low frequency thought that harms, or is it a high frequency thought that heals? When we bring in high frequency thoughts that heal, and we know that they heal because they feel good. Anything that feels good is healing, and anything that feels not good is damaging. It's really that simple. So when we bring in and allow ourselves to entertain thoughts that are not going to make us feel good, then we are actually causing a dis-ease in our mental body. And that's okay, because like Bonnie said, no matter what we do, we're not going to get it, we're not going to mess it up, because we're going to have experiences, and every experience is valuable. Every experience helps us to climb more and more into the awareness of who we are as truth. And who we are as truth is that we are light, and we are love, and we are source. That is the truth that we all want to accomplish and step into. And we do that through all these vehicles. So as if we were an athlete that focused just on our physical body, we would elevate our physical body to a very high state of perfection. We could do that. And there are people who devote their entire lives to perfecting their physical body, to perfecting their physical stamina, to perfecting their aging process. I mean, all you have to do is go online and see how much is happening around just halting the aging process. That is us as a humanity saying, wait a minute, I have some say-so in how I age. Let me do what I need to do to perfect my physical body so that it can go up in frequency, and I can then put a halt to the aging process. Because the aging process is a combination of mental thoughts and emotional thoughts, and even astral experiences that through intention or lack of intention, we are then entertaining, that are keeping us at whatever frequency we are. So they want me to slow down because there's a healing coming in through for everyone right now. And it's actually occurring in the astral plane. And wow, so what we're receiving right now is an actual gift. Everyone on this call, whether you're listening live or you're listening to the recording, you are receiving a gift to help you raise the frequency of your astral body. Wow. So this is an upgrade in the astral body so that you can have experiences that are more pleasant in the astral body. If anybody on this call has been having nightmares, and I'm being told that there's 5 people on this call, I don't know, they're not distinguishing whether you're listening to the recording or you're live. There's 5 people in this community for this conversation that have been struggling with nightmares. This is an example of an astral body that is hanging around in the low frequency aspect of the astral world. But as we raise the frequency of our astral body, it's like raising the frequency of our physical body or our emotional body or our mental body. And as we raise the frequency of our astral body, which is what we're all receiving right now as a gift to be able to go up, because the astral world has a lot of different levels to it. It's just like our physical world has a lot of different levels to it. There's places where you go to physically that make you sick, and there's places where you go to physically that elevate you. It's the same in all the worlds. The mental world is created through mental constructs. So it's thoughts. Thoughts are what make up the mental world. Emotions are what make up the emotional world. And the astral world, to me, is like a replica of the physical world, but it's more ethereal. So it's less dense. And so in that world, our soul is able to experience this world, but in another place where we can actually impact creation from a whole nother place. We have more access to crystal activations. We have more access to the angelic realm. So we're all receiving this beautiful gift of raising the frequency of our astral body so that we can enjoy more pleasant experiences in the astral world, so that we can experience more of the love and the joy and the Gardens of Eden, if you will. And that's what I think of the Garden of Eden, is like a really high, it's a symbology for a very high frequency aspect of the astral world, is how I've always thought of the Garden of Eden. It's a place where we can experience bliss and come really close to source because it's so high up there in that place of frequency in the astral. So we're receiving a beautiful gift to elevate us to that place. So for those of you that might be struggling with nightmares, say goodbye to your nightmares, because this is it, baby. And if you're not having nightmares, you're going to start having a much more elevated experience in your astral world, which is going to help you in the physical world. There's beautiful frequencies coming in. I'm seeing the key codes, and they do look very geometric, and they do look very key codey. Okay, key codey. A lot of numbers and just geometrics, and also a lot of crystal kind of activations coming through for everyone. Now, this is also helping to elevate, and Bonnie and I, we've done several calls where we're activating crystal systems within the body. Our body, is made up mostly of carbon, but it also has crystals in it. And so as we go up in frequency, we are able to access that information. Our bodies are constantly talking to us, as our mental bodies are and our emotional body. So when you have an experience like the bike falling off the garage or that drink that you spilled, it is a sign. It's a sign from your soul. They're giving you clues. And the way that our soul speaks to us is through these bodies. And that's why it's so beneficial to us from a personality standpoint to begin to have the awareness of why we have these bodies and why do I need to know about them. It's because our soul is talking to us through these bodies. Oh my gosh. If you have a heart palpitation that feels physical, you want to ask your soul, why am I experiencing that high palpitation in my heart? Most people would just run and want to take an aspirin or go to the doctor or go to the emergency room. When you are trained to understand energy and that everything is energy, the first place you go to is not the emergency room. The first place you go to is not the medicine cabinet. You go to ask your soul, why am I having heart palpitations? And then your soul will give you the information of why it's giving you that clue, just like that bicycle that fell off the garage wall. So it's the same thing with our mental body. Why is our mental body, why are we having bad thoughts? Why are we having negative thoughts? Oh, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I must be depressed, I better get on an antidepressant. No, go to your soul and ask, why am I having a negative thought pattern in my life right now? And your soul will begin to give you the information that you need so that you can nourish each one of these bodies in a way that continually raises and raises and raises your frequency so you can come closer and closer to knowing yourself as the truth that you are.
Woohoo!
Wow.
Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. It's an amazing conversation. Thank you, Molly, for letting us know about you feeling the downloads. It's absolutely fabulous. We love to hear that stuff. If you want to put it on Facebook, that will work for us as well. We love to hear that. Next week, February 5th, we are going to be talking about the Merkaba, the body. And it was so cool because I asked to see it and I saw it like a giant container and it was just so cool. So it'll be really fun to have that conversation about that next Tuesday night. Same link that you used tonight, you'll get it again, but it'll be the exact same link. We, Lily and I, checked in with our souls as we are constantly talking about, and we are redesigning the workshop that we had planned for next Saturday. It was called Failure to Launch. And we are working it into a monthly series that we are going to be doing about accessing your own soul's information. It is absolutely going to be awesome. It's your soul's information for clearing, healing, and knowing your own truth. I am so excited about it. We are putting it all together now, so we will have that out to you. It is going to be beginning on February 22nd. I love that, 2/22. So put that on your calendar. It is a Friday night. We're going to be doing that program. It's going to be amazing. We are having a 12-week program called Accessing Your Divine Channels, We are off the wall excited about that as well. And we want to encourage all of you to share this information. There is so much great information that comes through, so much healing, that we can just really keep changing the world and changing people's perspectives on. So we want to encourage you all to pass those links on. Lily, you have anything else?
Yeah, and don't forget to ask your soul if you are ready to really receive an advanced level program on opening your channels, activating your channels, and gaining access to all the gifts that you came here with. And we just love you all so much. Bonnie and I couldn't do what we do, that we love so much, without you. You are a beautiful community, and we are so much gratitude and appreciation for all of you. Good night and have a great week.
Good night.